Hi, everybody. I'm Sai,
I'm Max.
and welcome to Beyond the Bag. We record these live on Poshmark, so if you hear me fumbling around with the shipping box mid-sentence, that's me multitasking.
We're good at my multitasking.
Yeah, except in that last sentence.
Yeah.
I was not good at multitasking.
All right. What we got in the bag today?
Okay, first topic. First up, the luxury market is cooling. This affects us, okay? In 2025, we're expected to see a global decline of 2 to 5%, excluding COVID, of all luxury brands.
Why?
Well, taxes is what I'm assuming, but we're going to delve into that a little bit more.
Okay.
The second topic, ready for this? Because we're changing it up a little bit, you guys. We're going to get, from here on out, we're going to have one topic about news and brands and purses and bags. And then we're going to go into a topic like this from here on out on the second topic. Next topic, Max, here we go. Why do women hang on to the wrong men and the wrong bags way longer than they should?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. Whether it's a toxic boyfriend or a Kate Spade that's peeling, letting go usually leads to freedom and the ultimate glow up, and yet somehow women will not let go.
Interesting.
Isn't that something?
Yeah. I don't know. I can't wait to dive into that.
And then also, did you see in the news, random pop culture news? I love random pop culture news. Beyonce, she's your favorite, but she made the news, so I have to report the news. She announced that she is in a collaboration with Adidas, okay?
Okay.
So look up for that. But hey, let's cue the music before Mags destroys me.
Beyond the bag where the story shines. Bags, brands, and secrets all in real time. From Lux deep dive to resale tea. Come vibe with the tribe, unfiltered free. We live on the mic, straight from the show. You feel the buzz and the glow as we go. Beyond the bag,
Let's go to the first one before we get to the juicy topic, yeah?
Okay.
Long story short, without getting, should I do, I'll just do the whole intro.
Of the luxury?
Yeah,
Okay.
so here's the thing, okay?
Okay.
We talked about in the last podcast how thrifting is going up.
Okay.
And the resale world is going up. Well, if the resale world's going up, it only makes sense that the retail world is going down. And that's literally exactly what's happening. So Lux brands are really, really cooling down. Their sales are all dropping.
Lux brands meaning?
Say one.
I mean, are we talking like Chanel?
No, not Chanel.
We're talking like Coach?
Chanel, something weird. No. We're talking about out of our range Lux.
Oh, okay.
We're talking about Louis.
Got it. Okay.
We're talking about Chloe's.
Got
Some
it.
channels, some Hermes, all of it.
Okay.
All of it, except for Chanel.
Okay.
There,
So no channel.
no channels. For whatever reason, they're increasing some of their prices, but everybody else is bringing down their price.
Is that? Do you think it has to do with the resale world?
I think it's got to do with the taxes because the market cooled down in 2025. This year, we are now down from 2% to down minus 5% globally.
Wow.
Of retail luxury sales. Now, I know those numbers seem small to us, right? But 5% of $1 billion industry is a lot of money.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of money that they're losing. So people just aren't buying the brand new. It's almost like there's a rebellion, kind of like the rebellion we're trying to start against corporate policies. But there's almost like a rebellion going on where they're not going to buy a brand new channel anymore.
Not channel. Louis,
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I could agree with you that it's on the taxes, especially since it's happening this year with all of the tax shit that's happening this year.
Yeah.
But I wonder if it has to do with the resale where it's like it kind of coincides with the previous episode that we were doing about the everybody's thrifting now and doing the secondhand thing.
Yeah.
So it could coincide with that where it's like, why would I go and buy a brand new one when I don't have to go and buy a brand new one?
I wonder if this helps explain Michael Kors a little bit.
The fall of Kors.
Yeah, I wonder if that helps explain them because Michael Kors, they're on our shit list.
I don't think so. I don't feel like this.
Because this is like way up there, and this is like up in the world of I got enough money.
Yeah. I don't feel like it. I feel like what we discussed with Michael Kors, and we might have to do another episode on that because I don't know if we're going to air that one, but is that they over expanded themselves. They over saturated themselves with not quality bags.
Side note, Eileen's already ready for story 2.
Oh yeah.
She's like, oh my God, don't get me started. But sticking to this topic before we unleash the Eileen, Burberry, for example.
Okay.
Everybody out there that got so you guys, we're not immune to buying and having fancy stuff. Mags has got a countless amount of Louis, although albeit vintage, but she's got plenty of Louis in her personal collection. She's got what's that fancy? A couple Bottegas. We even have a vintage Bottega that we have up for sale that's worth a couple $1,000s. Okay, like it's a super vintage though. So it's one of those vintage ones that they didn't even put not that Bottega puts anything on there, but they didn't even have anything at all on there to say that they're a luxury brand back then. So we're not immune to this. So this kind of affects us a little bit. Now we're not crazy. There, I said it. I'll go even further. Ready for me to get some people on my ass? We're not stupid. We're not gonna buy brand new full retail out of a Hermes shop.
Nope.
It ain't happening.
Nope.
I don't care. And remember, this woman's been well off before, and we still didn't do that. That's crazy to me. So and by the way, I love that our listeners and our tribe are smart shoppers. I'm just gonna boast this for a second. We smart, okay? I know I'm gonna get heat for that last comment. They're not stupid. They can afford it. Okay.
Then go afford it.
Then go afford it. Yeah, I guess. But you could have put that money somewhere else. I'm just saying, I could have got like 1,000 back for that one that you bought. So
why are you listening to this podcast?
right.
Didn't go shopping at Chanel right now.
Anyways, we're not immune. Here's my point, though. Brands like Burberry, ready for this?
Okay.
This is staggering. Burberry has dropped almost all of their bags, brand new ones. We're talking about like they just made it yesterday, and instead of pricing where they should be, they priced them at 9% less on an average of every single bag. They even have new SKUs coming out right now. That's what they call entry-level SKUs. So you can get a Burberry for much cheaper.
Well, they did a like a collab with I remember they did like there's like perfume bags that you can get that are Burberry.
Yeah.
But they're not like retail Burberry. They're like the gifty, like gift with purchase type shit. So
I got a question. So if all these people are doing this, Louis are coming down, everybody's lowering their prices except Chanel. What's up with you, Chanel? What's wrong with you? Okay. Everybody's lowering their prices. In the resale world of Poshmark, is that going to bring down everybody's prices, or is it going to bring it up? So like, for example, let's just stick to Burberry's for a second. Okay. Let's not talk any other brand but Burberry.
Okay.
Burberry reduced all their prices for the most part on average 9%. Okay. It doesn't sound like a lot until I start throwing at you $5,000 bags.
right.
Then that's a lot of money suddenly, an extra 9% off. Okay.
Right.
So does that mean that now when I resell my Burberry, that I got to reduce it as well, 9%? Or does that mean that I have an old school one before I got slashed to the shitty one that you just bought on 2025, that my old school Burberry is now
I think so
retain
because
value?
I think they're going to retain their value because I wonder if their quality is diminishing at all by doing this. If they're cutting corners on their quality at all.
I doubt it. I doubt it because Michael Kors, for example.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but Michael Kors is kind of on the affordable luxury side. That's where we live.
Right.
And in the affordable luxury side, you cut down 9%, suddenly you can't put the best leather on there.
Yeah.
These guys, on the other hand, they're sitting on the thousands upon thousands of dollars. I think we all know that a Birkin don't cost $100,000 to make.
Right.
So if they decide to bring down their price a couple $1,000s, I doubt they're going to take that off the quality of the leather that they're putting in or the craftsmanship.
I don't know. I think they're gonna hold their value just like any of the like original Kate Spades and the older coaches and things like that are gonna hold their value. That's what I think personally. I don't know that. I mean, if you get a new version of that, like you end up with a new version of one of the 9% drop ones. Yeah, your resale's probably gonna go down because everybody's gonna be like, well, I can just go get myself a new one for this.
Yeah. There's a whole Gen Z movement against these luxury brands. That's the problem. Now, the funny part, just to be hypocritical of themselves, they also go ahead and buy those luxury brands in the thrift stores.
Right.
They'll buy it on Poshmark for $3 starts and a lot cheaper.
Right.
But they won't go buy it brand new. So it's like, we hate you, but we also buy you behind your back for a lot less.
Well, I think they hate the idea of paying the full retail. I don't think they hate the brand necessarily itself. I think they're rebelling against the full retail thing, which again coincides with the previous episode we just did about like what was the percentage? Like 68% of people are thrifting now. I mean, like that's over half of the population would rather thrift than go and buy something brand new.
Right.
So I think those just go hand in hand with that.
So Let me see here. It says here. Oh, okay. So it is a little bit part of the tip. I have a screen in front of me, you guys. You can't see at home, but I have a screen that makes me feel like I'm smart. I call it the "Make Me Feel Smart" screen.
It's your smart screen.
My smart screen. It has all these facts in front of me that get to pop off like, as if I knew it from the top of my head. I don't, but it is good to have facts, so that way we're talking, not out of our ass in essence, right?
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of it has to do with the tariffs.
You think so?
So, well, you tax my company, so I have to increase my prices, correct? Kind of, because now I can't sell it for as much as I want to sell it for. People aren't going to buy it for that much.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to lower my prices.
Yeah.
It kind of makes sense in that way too, aside from the cultural rebellion of buying completely full retail. Aside from that one,
Mhm.
there's also that as well, where it's like, well, I got taxed. So I'm supposed to bring it up. But reality is these companies have the margins to bring down their prices, tax or no tax.
Right.
Because how much is a luxury upsell, honestly?
So
What's the markup on it?
so much.
Ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, they can kind of afford to a little bit to kind of bring it down. Now, as for where we live and the coaches and Michael Kors, no, that screws us. Because that little bit is huge in the $500 and below range.
Right.
So I think we stick as kismetmax.com around the $800, right? It's the max that we'll sell, right? We don't like to venture beyond that. I don't.
No, I mean, we have our like the Bottega, and we have a couple of like unicorn pieces that we've thrown up that are more like, I don't know. I don't necessarily expect to sell them. Like they're just kind of there as like a show pieces, if
Right,
you will,
right.
in a way.
Right.
So, but yeah, I definitely think that we stick in the like 800 is gonna be
Probably the max,
Well,
especially if
yeah.
they're good vibes guarantee,
definitely.
So $800 unicorn piece.
I don't like to list anything posh for over the 500, and it sounds sketchy, but I don't want posh putting their paws on it. So
Yeah, we take
I don't
time.
list anything over 500 on posh because it's not authentic, and I don't want posh to be able to tell you that it's not authentic. That's not the case. I just don't want that. I've heard horror stories, and I don't want posh touching my stuff.
Well, and also, it doesn't make sense to send it to them if we have our good vibes guarantee.
Right.
You can just kind of think it's kind of fake, maybe.
Yeah.
You could even lie to us and be like, yeah, I think it's fake, and we'll take it back.
Right.
So there's no point of them going in and ruining the packaging and ruining everything because
Right.
we send all of our bags out to be displayed in essence if you're not going to use it.
Right.
So the last thing we want is them putting their paws on there and be like, oh yeah, you know what I mean? This is not it. So, and unless they got an X-ray machine now to get past the super fakes, that ain't even a thing that I'm going to care about them touching that. So that by the way is supposed to be for the buyer.
Yeah.
The buyer is supposed to feel safer Poshmark authenticating it, right? Or eBay or whatever, we don't have to be picking on Poshmark
Mhm.
or eBay or the Real authenticating it. And sometimes they might fail doing that. I mean, honestly, it doesn't happen often. But it does. You only hear the horror stories.
Oh, definitely.
Just to defend Posh for a second.
No,
You don't hear the
I totally-
success stories.
No, I totally understand. But I also hear the success stories of how shitty it was packaged, even if it was authentic and it passed the authentication. I'm not talking shit on the authentication process. I'm talking shit on them getting to put their hands on it and ruining our beautiful presentation that we have for people.
Right.
Like,
This
because
is why
they're
we're keeping it
gonna-
under 500.
Yeah, because they're going to have to open everything that we do to be able to inspect the bag, and they're not going to put it back together the way that we did.
Right. What was the last expensive thing we sold? Was it MCM? Was it the barrel bag? Was that like 300-400, something like that?
On Posh?
No. It was the
On the site?
on any.
The duffel.
The Coach duffel went for 400.
For something?
It was like $400,
That's
right?
fine.
Something like that. But it was like the Oxblood, which is like the very popular,
Mm-hmm.
like hard to get and super popular duffel bag. Like,
Yep.
which, by the way, I couldn't even believe we got one in the first place.
I know.
And it came with the thing for the airport, the
The luggage tag.
luggage tag with
I
it
know.
too. So are you kind of sad it sold?
I'm not gonna lie, I am. I mean, it was nice. I'm glad somebody must have been looking for it. You know what I mean? Because it sold just one day on the site. Was like,
Well,
I thought for sure like Gwen or Novel had bought it, and then
Well-
when I saw that it was someone completely organic and new, I'm like,
I love that.
even better.
Even
That
better,
was
yeah.
cool.
Novel went and researched and they had other ones, but it wasn't the one. She was like, oh no, they're right here for like $200, $300. And no, wrong one.
Mhm.
This one is the super Uber one,
Yeah,
not that one. That's
yeah. And it was
different
the oxblood edging on it. was
right.
what,
The aqua edging. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was the gray signature, but the oxblood edging.
None of that though affects us of what's going on with the luxury
Mm-hmm.
resale world.
Yeah.
None of that affects us is my point. So if Louis Vuitton which they did. LV, Balenciaga, which, by the way, on another topic completely, they are starting to come back with some old Y2K styles that are taking off.
Balenciaga.
All of them, yeah.
Oh.
Remember back in the day, Balenciaga, watch this. You might be impressed. There's nothing about make me smart screen that lets me cheat here.
Okay.
Back in the day on a show called, I don't know if you ever heard of it, it's called Sex in the City.
Mm.
Balenciaga had like this special bag on there. It was called like the loaf bag or something like that. It was like a, you're gonna look it up.
Looking it up.
You're now going on your Make Me Smart screen.
Yeah.
And anyways, my long story short, they're actually starting to produce a bag similar to that all over again, and it's kind of bringing back those vibes.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, I need to.
So, because Balenciaga, the brand, in my opinion, I've been on these Posh shows, and the first time I heard of Balenciaga, it was on Poshmark, and someone goes, "Yeah, I have a Balenciaga." Just saying it, you sound all like, Balenciaga. I have a Balenciaga. $3 start Balenciaga, all right? And then even worse, it was like I heard one too. It was like, I have a Balenciaga. It's a super steal, $800. And I went, what the hell is a Balenciaga? And why is it so expensive, right? So I went over. Do you know what I'm talking about? Is that it?
No.
The baguette. That's it. No, that's it.
No, that's the Fendi.
Oh, the Fendi. Okay, the Fendi baguette. But listen though, they went in there and I go, what's a Balenciaga? And then me and Mags went to the actual website, the Balenciaga website. And the way Mags describes their branding is like blink twice if you're in trouble, because it's so out of this world, so chic. So like, is that really a brand or is this like a mock brand? Like, is this a real thing? No, it's a real thing. All right. So I may have gotten it confused with that one.
Really?
No. It was a baguette, and it was a Fendi then. Fendi's bringing that back too. Bringing that back. Yes. And I didn't know for a long time what Fendi was as well, because it's just, again, as a dude coming in, I just didn't know. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know. I know now, but at the time I had no freaking clue.
Now I'm just so curious. Oh my god, the swan bag. Are any of you guys Sex in the City people? Like, I love Sex in the City so much.
Didn't they come out? Isn't that show still going, kind of?
Yeah.
Right?
I gotta get my HBO subscription.
It's called something like
And Just Like That.
And Just Like That. Yeah, the show's still going. She's on a rabbit hole.
I am. I'm totally rabbit holing.
You can rabbit hole after the
I know.
after the recording. But with that said, babe, none of that actually affects us is what I'm trying to get to,
Yeah.
and it didn't make any sense to me. So Balenciaga brings down their prices. It doesn't affect us.
No.
It does not affect us one bit. Us personally.
Mm-mm.
But does it affect others out there?
I think it will.
You know?
I think it will slightly affect the resale world.
Are you worried if
But-
you sell Balenciagas right now? Are you worried if you sell Burberrys?
No.
Should you be worried?
No, I'm not, but I don't, so I'm not even thinking about it. But
Let's just imagine, put yourself in their shoes. They got a $3 start show coming up on Wednesday.
well, they don't give a shit if they're doing a $3 start anyway. Like, you don't value your bags at all if you're doing a $3 start.
Remember there was
Don't value them.
Do you remember there was someone on here, I think his name was Elliot, that was on this show, and then Poshmark burned him so bad. He was like, "Bye, Felicia."
Oh my god, yes.
Do you remember Elliot?
Elliot's Luxuries.
I love watching his show.
He was so sassy.
He was so sassy, and I loved him, and he's gone now because Poshmark, I think, decided to burn him. Also, the 20%, hello? Remember I told you? If the bag is over $5,000 or $1,000, Poshmark, if you get wind of this, bring down the prices after a certain amount
The
of the percentage that you're taking.
Mm-hmm.
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it. You're going to lose to Rebag. You're going to lose to Amazon. You're going to lose to everybody if you keep doing this. Okay, that's it. That's my special.
Yeah, if it's up over, if you're in the thousands, there needs to be a different pay structure. There needs to be a different fee structure when it comes to that, in my opinion.
Okay.
And in your opinion, obviously, but
Who doesn't agree with that?
I-
Poshmark.
well,
That's right.
naturally,
Oh, yeah.
right? Poshmark's stepdad does not agree
No.
with this policy.
Stepdad is not going to agree. If you guys were paying attention to the last podcast, we have a Poshmark stepdad. He's coming in on October.
October 1st.
October 1st. His Kim is his name. I don't remember his first name.
I don't remember either.
I don't remember his name. I just know the sound he makes as he screws Poshmark sellers in the ass with his 20% coming up, possibly raising it even further.
We discussed this off podcast, and you brought up such a good point of that he's not gonna do that to.
No, he's not.
He's not gonna screw the sellers, and I
tell joke. Okay.
I am. If you listen to the podcast, I was very much concerned that he's gonna screw the sellers, but after talking to you outside of the podcast, you brought up such good points of that he's not gonna raise. Posh is built on sellers. Amazon is built on buyers.
Correct.
Amazon takes care of their buyers. They could give a shit about their sellers. Posh is the complete opposite. They are, if there's no sellers, there's no 20%.
Right. I personally think on when it comes to Posh is winning right now because of their numbers. We're going off topic. Let's go down here for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Poshmark right now is playing a very fine line. Because they have lots of competition. There are a lot of people out there going, hey, no seller fees, come with me.
Yeah.
Depop, Mercari, you name it. Let's keep going. eBay. They got the only reason why they're winning so much right now is because they took off with how easy it is to get in, and and then they got in with USPS or whatever. They have all sorts of so they have the numbers right now.
Right now.
But they are playing a very fine line of competition coming up, and they can't screw the sellers too much.
Right.
Because if their whole thing is about sellers and they screw the sellers are just going to be like, okay, well, I'm going to take this and I'm going to go to them who takes less of a fee. And when the products go over there, the buyers are going over there. Because what? Because buyers aren't sitting around. Buyers are already getting screwed on Poshmark. Okay. So why the hell would they want to stay? They're going to go where those sellers are now that can now offer it for less, because they don't got to pay such a hefty fee of 20%. And when they say, I want to return it, they'll actually accept. I'm never going to let that go. That Poshmark did that. I want you to know. I'm taking that to the grave until they do something about it, Same thing's happening to Uber drivers. They're making barely minimum wage. Yeah, that's true. I mean, you end up going to your competition. So that's why I think as he's coming in, Mr. Kim is going to come in, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's going to do something for the sellers. He is, again, I said this in the last one, he's the Michael Jordan of this, you guys. He's not stupid. Imagine a very, very smart corporate man coming in. That's who he is.
Mm-hmm.
He is going to do the right moves, and he's going to innovate, and he's going to make sure the sellers are good. But as of right now, unless something changes, I'm calling my shot right now. What is this, episode 5, 6? Poshmark is not sustainable at its current state. They will very, very slowly bleed out with their lack of customer experience, because that's how Amazon stays alive. The customer experience is amazing, right? And they'll bleed even more because they're taking such a hefty fee from sellers. And then here's the stuff they can't change that they have to find a way. One, Poshmark shows, 150 million users. Scroll right now through Poshmark. How many do you see? Maybe 5, 20 viewers, maybe every once in a while. But there's not a single 1,000, 3,000 like Twitch, for example, where you got someone that's like the all-star of it, right? You don't got any of that because nobody wants to promote their Poshmark show on YouTube. Nobody does it.
Right.
So that's a big flaw in their system there.
It's true. You look at the Posh shows, and you've got a couple of shows that are in the hundreds.
Absolutely.
And
at what, $3 starts, right?
Yep.
That's right.
90%
and share shows, right?
Yeah, 90% of the time it's a share show or it's a luxury low start. And how, like you said, how sustainable is that?
It's not sustainable. And then here's the thing that's the biggest thing. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Here's the biggest thing that they need to find a way to fix in order to be finally sustainable, in my opinion. Okay? Don't get me wrong. They're making plenty of money right now. But I don't think it's a forever thing. Okay? And with that, all the competition creeping up, they got some problems.
Mm-hmm.
So the biggest thing is their culture. Poshmark culture. We talk, let me not say fancy words like culture. The people on Poshmark are catty.
Yeah, definitely.
There's no other way to say it.
Mm-hmm.
They're
drama.
They're catty and they're full of drama.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's like they thrive on it because you...
Not catty.
Not you, T. Not you. We're not talking about you. But you're considering doing shows over there? We've thought about it too. We need to, on Whatnot, we need to look into that. You're like the 17th person that has...
I had a representative of Whatnot trying to poach us.
Oh, really?
Yep. They're into my DMs right now on Instagram trying to poach us.
Oh,
They said, in essence, without saying it, stop selling at Poshmark, come to us. And I have a very soft spot for Poshmark right now. It's the only reason why we haven't gone over. Poshmark, hate them or love them, has a big platform still. And they really helped us start this whole...
Right.
And again, the reason why we exist is because all the things Poshmark did wrong. And I don't want to say Poshmark directly, the Poshmark sellers.
Yeah.
And how they facilitated the sale. And afterwards, I don't mean to go too deep into this, but I am ready for this. And this is going to hit this should hit people who are our culture really hard. And you're not going to be able to tell if I'm talking about people, I'm talking about business right now. You really, really know the true color of people. And I said this yesterday on yesterday's sign off, depending on when things get hard. So the people in your life that stick around are the people that it's so easy to stick around when you're winning, when you're the champion, when everything's going good. Maybe you just got maybe it's not even that deep. Maybe you just got your paycheck. Some of your friends show up, but it's so difficult to find people when you're down, Maybe you're hurt. Maybe you had a heart attack and nobody called you. Looking at you, Julian Michaels.
Right.
Maybe if you guys ever saw that documentary
Oh
on
my God,
Big
watch the
Loser,
Biggest
we
Loser
watched it.
documentary.
Maybe
So good.
maybe you went broke and no one's there to lend you a hand. Maybe you got in a divorce and they didn't take your side. They just literally just whatever it might be I mean, whatever it might be in your life. That's when you really get to see the true colors of people in the world of business. That's after the sale. So I have to almost repeat that, right? So in the world of business, their true colors come out after the sale. Oh, Poshmark is so fast to take your money. Oh my God, yes. Look how easy it is for you to send out my product. Look how easy it is for you to buy on Poshmark. Oh my God. And take away Poshmark, insert anything, insert eBay, insert any store right now. Okay. You can say TJ Maxx, insert anything right there, any company, any business. That's the good times in your life, isn't it? Because you got money, you're making a sale. Their true colors come through afterwards, after the sale. Let's say you get the product or service and you're like, it's past the return window. That's when you see the true colors. By the way, I'm talking about a genuine person, not someone trying to scam these companies.
Right.
I'm not talking about them.
Right.
I'm talking about just a normal person. You know what I'm saying? Like here's an example. Let's say you're on the Real and you missed their 14-day window by like 3 hours. 3 hours. You're going to see the true colors of the Real come through in that little moment right there. You're going to see the true colors of Poshmark after the 3-day window. Oh no, was it day 4 and it auto accepted? You're going to see the true colors of that company come through. And in my opinion, right now, just still going back to Poshmark, the way that 3-day window works and how they treat people, that's the true colors coming through.
So true. Because I have a personal experience with this. Just recently, this is why Amazon is a fucking rock star. Like I had an item that we had bought in, I want to say it was like, was it July? Maybe our sprayer.
Oh yeah.
And
A little sprayer.
it gave out on us. It quit.
Oh, it's that electric sprayer. We should probably mention that.
And it was a spray bottle.
There's a spray bottle that broke. The handle broke. We're mad.
Such a cheap ass. But no,
I'm gonna get a drink.
yes, please. So I looked it up and I was like, oh, I wonder if they'll like exchange it for me because it's only been, like a month and a half. Like it shouldn't have taken a shit in a month and a half. And so I reached out and of course on their paper, for face value was like, will you get me one of these? Because I can't have that down. Just kidding. I don't know if I put any in there. It said, your window, you've passed your window. Like there's no like nothing we can do as far as a refund or an exchange. So I messaged them. And then I'm like, do I need to contact the company or were you guys going to do something? And they said, you know what, as a one-time courtesy, I'm going to put the balance, like what you paid for it in your Amazon balance, if you will, so that you can buy yourself a new one. And did it within 10 minutes. So like there's like that, like you're talking about the true colors, right, of a company where like there's always the option to make it right. I don't care what company you are. I don't care what business you're in. There is always an option. There's always a button that can be pushed to make it right.
Yes.
And it all depends on the person you get on the other end, whether they want to take the time to push that fucking button. Like 8 times out of 10, you're going to get a no. And that's where Karen...
You're being generous. Yeah, 8 out of 10. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, like that is where Karens are born. Because like that is where now I can...
Now you're out of your mind crazy?
Yeah, I can channel my inner Karen where I'm like, no, I know because I have a business, I've worked in companies, there's always a button to make it right. And whether you choose to use that button or not, that shows like you said, the true colors of your company.
Right.
Because Amazon didn't have to do that. I didn't go Karen on them. I just simply asked. And they did it. I didn't have to get mean. I didn't have to get bitchy. I didn't have to do anything. I just simply asked, who do I need to contact to make this right? And they said, you know what? I'm just going to give you your money back. Don't even worry about it. Buy yourself something nice. You don't even have to buy the same item. Here's the money back. Buy what you want. And like, they didn't have to do that, but that's why they're king. And that's why Poshmark isn't, because they're like, sorry, it's out of the 3-day window. There's literally nothing I can do. And I'm like, there literally is something you can do. You're choosing not to.
We left money in our account for that one transaction.
Absolutely.
So we got paid from Poshmark, and we didn't touch the money.
No, I know, and I love that they were like, "We've released the funds." I'm like, "Bitch, I didn't want the funds. Like, I didn't want the money. That the whole point is we left that in there. We made this happen within the 3-day window. We both agreed. You arbitrated, not arbitrated.
No,
You arbitrated for
did
yourself,
Yep, correct.
and you didn't do anything. Like, we did everything according to their policy and their procedure, and they had always just went ahead and done the return for it. Like,
So I went in their little policy and procedure afterwards on that one exact moment that
So
you're talking
annoying.
about, and they said, "I'm sorry, this return does not qualify under a blankety blank mumbo jumbo jumbo." And son of a bitch, it's on there. It says on there that it has to be something that Poshmark finds that Poshmark finds, pretty much paraphrasing,
Mhm.
unfair to the buyer. That's what they found. So like having it like you can't say like
So if
if
you're
I-
gonna return something, take little notes right now.
Yeah.
Shit not
if
to
you're
say.
returning something on Poshmark and you need it returned, it has to be substantial. And that's what's in their word. So when the size wasn't right for her, right? Because here's the problem. The Poshmark arbitrator went in and saw that we put in the size on our listing. It's part of our transparency.
Mhm.
And that means that the buyer is supposed to look at that and supposed to fucking know exactly how much that is going to fit. You know what I'm saying? Which who does?
Right.
Who's looking at that and going like, "Oh, we do it just for transparency,"
Mm.
right? So, but my point is that pretty much they said, "Oh, this is a great reason to keep my 20% because
I get to say no.
I get to say no because the clearly the seller said what size it is and you
Mm.
say it's not the right size."
Right.
So,
Which
and
is great. Which is great. And I appreciate that protection for the sellers, for dumbass buyers that want to just screw you because they've got buyer's remorse. So now they're gonna say it doesn't fit. Or now because this has happened to several of our
Right.
tribe members.
But none of us, we didn't say no.
But that's what I'm
We
saying.
didn't say like, "Oh no, please don't."
That's what, and now that we didn't respond with size was in the description.
Nope.
Blah 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 blah. It was like, cool, send it back. Poshmark, please approve this, which they had done every other time in the past.
Before April, and guess who came in on April?
Yep.
Mr. Kim,
Mr.
Stepdad.
Stepdad
Poshmark stepdad was in the background.
going
That-
because
That's my theory, at least.
we literally have had people return something which like somebody didn't like the color. They didn't like the color of it. And we were like, cool, send it back. And Poshmark was like, cool, here's your approval. Let's do this. Granted, it was like a $40, $50 item, right? So it was like nothing percentage wise. This one being up over 100, over 150, Poshmark was like, no.
30 bucks for them, 20, 30 bucks.
I'd rather keep that money
Yeah.
because they had literally approved a return for someone that didn't like the fucking color.
I hate
How is that
because-
not protected in their policy?
Full transparency, you guys. Full transparency. I want you guys to know this. Me and Mag silently feel guilty. We like it because it's our chance to convert people when they buy on Poshmark. But we silently feel guilty because we have to upcharge an extra 20% on Poshmark.
That's why our prices are so different on Posh than they are on our site.
Right.
Like,
so we
so
have to, though.
different.
We have to. That's the problem.
Mhm.
We have to, or else if we don't do that, then we literally break even, if not
If
go into
that.
the red. So we have to give the extra 20%. And man, selling a $400 item on here hurts so bad.
Ugh.
We have to go farther than that and charge past 20%.
Right.
Because they're going to take so much off of us. So
Mhm.
for example, guys, we will buy a bag. We will 100% buy a bag for a couple $100 and resell it. We will. And we're not talking about Louis. We're talking about Coaches. We're talking about not Michael Kors anymore, but Kate Spades,
Mhm.
Fry's. So we'll
They're
buy a bag.
specific one.
We'll buy a bag for $100 and we'll list it for $200, which sounds like we're going to make a lot of money, but really we don't, because again, if we're selling on Posh, buy $40 puts me at 160. You know me, I love transparency numbers. Puts me at 160. Then I pay for shipping because that's
Another-
what we do over here.
another
Puts
eight.
me at 145-ish after 15 because we usually have to upgrade our. That's a whole other thing they got to do too.
Oh my god.
Upgrade your shipping when it's
Upgrade
over
shipping.
5 pounds. We normally got to upgrade because we send our boxes, and our boxes are a couple pounds because we send magnetic boxes. So they weigh a little bit more. So we normally have to upgrade our shipping, which is an extra $10. So our shipping always ends up being way more than $8 like it's
Mhm.
supposed to be. So $15 on average is what our shipping ends up coming to be. Now we're at $130. I bought the bag, you guys, for $100 to sell for $200. So
That's not including any giveaways
no giveaway,
or
no nothing
packing
else. No,
supplies
what about
or the box that it's actually going in.
or time, right? So what happens is I can't list it on Posh for 200. I have to list it for 280. 280.
At least.
That bag ain't worth 280 is my problem.
Right.
That's the problem I run into. I go, I feel guilty. I go, that bag's not worth 280. If somebody buys it on Posh right now, I overcharged them by $80 and I know it. And I don't even get to keep that money.
Right.
Poshmark takes that money. I would rather have taken that money and then spoiled my customer, spoiled the person who got it, and give them a better experience. But I can't do that.
Right.
That's not up to me anymore.
Right.
So, and as you know, they're like, don't facilitate sales outside of Posh.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They explicitly say it, like, because it's for the buyer's protection.
Right. Because they can't control what happens outside of.
You can get
Posh.
scammed, and that's true.
You
They're not wrong.
can.
They're not wrong.
Absolutely can.
They're not wrong.
But they can also not get scammed and not get upcharged, and Poshmark won't make their 20%. That's the real reason is we don't make money if you go and buy it somewhere else. So why would we facilitate it? Why would we say it's okay? We don't. We say that you can't, like, at all. They become like the corporate boss. It's like, don't date. Don't be friends outside of work.
Don't be friends.
Don't you dare fraternize.
Right. Have you noticed that they're a multi, okay, company? When I say multi, I mean millions and billions is what I mean. They're a multi company, okay? Excuse me. You know they can put in a better chat system. You know they can do a better feed system. You know they can do so many things better, but it does not happen for a reason. Because the last thing they want us to do is be friends outside of school. They want to keep it all right here where it's supposed to be.
Right? Because that's where the 20% is.
That's where the money is. So now, ready for me to play devil's advocate? Can you blame them?
No, I can't. But I also, like, don't get mad when it happens.
Right. That's the part I was saying about that not sustainable. There's got to be something done with this fee structure that is going to keep people on board here. They lost Elliot, which I'm kind of pissed about. I loved Elliot.
Right.
I'll be real with you.
He had a multi-million-dollar inventory.
Yeah. He's a multi-million-dollar inventory. 20% is a lot of money.
A lot.
Let's just say he's got $1 million inventory. He's got more than that. But let's just say his inventory is at exactly $1 million. You're telling me every year I get to go to him and go, hey, I want you to give $200,000 every year to Poshmark. And they're going to be like, for what? And you're like, just because you're on their platform. And guess what any sane business person's going to be like, I'll just go on a different platform.
Right.
That's a lot of money. So like they really need to do something to help those sellers. So again, that's kind of where I'm sitting. This doesn't affect us still.
Right.
We're in a very humble grouping of people and price range.
Right.
You know, $400-$500 is the most expensive thing we'll sell every once in a while. And I'm okay with that. Okay. But for the people selling big boy numbers, something needs to happen for them. They're getting screwed left and right. So
it's so true. It feels bad. I would be so scared. Like, I know Britt, I love Britt.
Oli, we're wearing red for you.
Oli,
look at my red.
Oli, I have
Look at my red.
red shorts on.
She's got red shorts.
I
got red. We're all excited.
But
ADD should have said.
She sold a really, really rare Louis Vuitton, like a Hawaiian bag or something, like a Hawaiian exclusive or something like that. I want to say like 1,500 or something like that. And it was on Posh. And first of all, it had to go through Posh authentication, which freaks me out. And then second, she had to eat the 20% of that. Like, I don't know. That's a lot of money. I know it hurts. The 20% hurts on our $150 or $200 or $300 sales. Like, I'm like, oh, it hurt.
You know, again, I'm more about the guilt.
Yeah.
And that's just what kills me is that having to price something so, and I just gave a $200 example.
Well, no, I know. That's what I mean. Like, it hurts on all levels. It hurts seeing that it sold for that and that you had to price it at that. And then it hurts to see what is actually being made out of that, where it's like, shit, I would have just charged you that somewhere else instead of having to charge you. That's what I mean, that it hurts. It hurts on all of the facets of the transaction.
Right.
Is what I mean. Like, it's like, ouch, ouch, ouch. We could have handled this elsewhere and everybody would have made more.
You know what really hurts? Exes.
Yes.
Come on. That was a decent transition. Am I right?
That was very good.
I'm rolling. I got us moving. That's my job to get to this topic.
Good.
let's talk about that for a second. So this next one is about exes. Okay, we're gonna talk about and ultimately what it is about is like how can we hold on to things a little too long? Like man bags, in some cases men. You know what I'm saying?
Man babies and bags.
So I have a link. Ready?
'Kay.
I'm gonna try and put the two together.
'Kay.
Feel free to interrupt me here. You can literally talk over me the second I'm out of bounds here. Okay. Um,
Eileen, we
we actually
naturally
want
try
to
to see
see
the
good
good in
in
people.
people. Okay, okay. Is that the same for handbags? Because here's what I'm saying too is like people are more likely to stick in relationships. There's something called like not something called, it's called emotional investment.
'Kay.
So for me, it can also be called a confirmation bias. It could be called, there's many ways to call it the same thing. You put the time into it and the emotions into it, and now you can't let it go. I mean,
You're invested.
you're invested more than just money.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Again, am I talking about bags or men?
Mm,
You can't tell.
no.
So, and just flip it around. If you're hetero, you're gay, or whatever you might be, I don't care. Partners, relationships, okay? Why pets, right? Why do we spend so much time holding on to this? Let's talk about your ex. Let's go, Mags.
Ugh.
We're gonna talk about Mag's ex. We're gonna talk about Mag's ex.
I kind of agree with Eileen and that we try and see the good in people, and I think the other thing too is we hold on to the good times and kind of let the bad times just like be in the background. Because it's like, oh, but when it's good, it's so good. And I feel so good and I feel so loved and I feel so seen that you just kind of let the bad like go because more good will come around, right?
Right.
And I think the other thing too is it's so much easier sometimes to just stay where you are than to start over.
Okay.
The fear of starting over
Okay.
can keep you where you're at.
Right.
Because it's really scary to start over. It's scary to start something new. It's we're talking about relationships. It's scary to start over, especially if it's really well established.
How much of this do you think? So let me give you my background on this. So before Mags, I had recently broke up with somebody. But even before then, I went on a crazy dating spree before getting with Mags. And yeah, full transparency, okay? To be honest, what's another way to say that? Uh, no, let's just keep it to those two phrases for now. The women were probably mostly into me because they saw me on stage, okay? Oh, that and also, yeah, fangirls, you know what I mean? Groupies, if you will. That and also, we made some money, all right?
Yeah.
We made some money. So having those two together really made a difference. I never had the fear of being alone. I never had a problem meeting somebody. So the fear of being alone was never a thing for me. Now, keep in mind, I also have a really high self-esteem. So I never don't, not that I don't suffer with insecurities, but I'm saying that I generally have like a base of high self-esteem.
Right.
So I don't, or even sometimes to cockiness sometimes, So I'm not too worried about that. So fear of being alone was never a thing for me, and fear of starting over is never a thing for me either. But I also know I'm not the norm. So I think a lot of people do really hold on to things because the concept of having to go out there and meet somebody new again, right? Especially in today's day and age where we're looking at our screen more than people's faces.
Oh, so true.
More than people's face. That's got to be scary, right? So instead of doing what's healthy for you, which is just releasing the bag, I mean man, I mean woman, is you hold on to it. You hold on to it and you hope, man, I hope you get better.
Yeah.
Oh, I cross my fingers, please get better.
Right.
And I've watched my friends do this, and I've watched everyone around me do this. And, and sometimes it does. Hold on. There are some good stories to it, but they never do it alone. They get help.
Yeah.
They get a therapist, they get outside help, they get intervened, but whatever they do, something helps them to be, it's never on their own.
It's hard to do on an island.
It's hard to be in a healthy relationship or to bring a relationship back to healthy, what you would classify as healthy. Every relationship is different.
Right.
Being on an island, being by yourself with just you two, because there's no mediator to really help bring both of you to a grounded level to, as it sounds, mediate.
Yeah.
To find a compromise between you two of any problem. And sometimes I wonder if it's so burnt it can't be fixed.
I think so, but I think people still hold on to it of like they still see value in it in some side, even if it's just like I remember the good times. Like, you can't let go of the good times. Even if the good times don't come around anymore, you hold on to that memory. You latch on to that, like, but it was so good when it was good.
Yeah. So who's your ex? You don't have to say names. Just say rhymes with.
Oh, which one? I
The
mean,
How about the one that you held on too long? Which one were you in there just a little bit longer than you should have been with? You're all, you motherfucker, you.
wow. I'm 20 years overdue on this one, so I don't know. Now? No. Um, well, I mean, I got married at a really, really young age, and that was just out of pure stubbornness and stupidity and being young. And we were probably together longer than we should have, but it was only a year or so. So we're not talking like 10 years deep. And then probably the most toxic relationship that I was in, it didn't last more than a year, but honestly, it shouldn't have lasted more than a week because of how toxic it
And
was.
during that time between a year and a week, what kept you there?
The good, the when it was good, it was super fun,
So
and
explain the good. Let's go into detail. I'm like a gossiping schoolgirl right now, you guys. I love this.
I mean, like, I didn't date a lot growing up, so we would go out on dates, and he would take me out to dinner, and we would go out to do things like that, which was something that I never did. I didn't even do that while I was married, because I got married when I was 18. So the marriage came first, and it was wham bam, and it was dumb, and I was young, and then the toxic dating came after. And so I didn't get to experience a lot of what he gave me to experience. So I think that was it, was there was a lot of inexperience in dating. So I didn't.
Can we really though? I feel like I'm gonna challenge you because that's half of the fun of this.
Mhm.
Experience in dating. Can we get better? Or does it reset every time you get with somebody and that person's different like a fingerprint? So they have to be treated differently.
Well,
So which part is that, or which part really applies more here?
I think if you're healthy in your brain, then you use dating to build your no's and yeses. You build your this is what I want in a relationship, and this is what I do not want in a relationship. So I, like, utopiously would like to think that dating gets better, because as you date on to the next person and on to the next person, you're like, yeah, nope, I'm not doing that again. Or yeah, I absolutely need my partner to have this so characteristic or this feature or this personality trait or whatever it may be, and I need them to not have
Right.
these as well. So you create your yeses and nos.
I tried to challenge you, but I'm only gonna end up agreeing with you. And here's why, because you'd like to think that we have a fingerprint, so we're all different, right? But at the base core of everything is we're human beings first. And generally speaking, human beings have some basic needs and some basic things. And then after that, we can break it down between gender, and then we can break it down between experiences, and then we can go into nature versus nurture. I'm sorry, my I'm schooled in this if you couldn't tell. Okay. So, and then we can bring it out. But at the base of everything first, we are human beings first, right? So that means that there is going to be some patterns when it comes to interacting and trying to create a bond with another human being that you're going to see similar that other people need. It's just going to happen.
Right.
So I think you can get better at dating, if you will, and get better at relationships as you keep going on. But a lot of that involves your own personal growth
Right.
and knowing it is that what you want and what you don't want over time.
Right.
So and that's different for everybody. So for example, I prefer a spontaneous person. I love, love women and Henry Cavill that are spontaneous.
Mhm.
And I don't like boring, sit down, watch Netflix and chill. I'm not that type of guy. I'm like, I'm gonna go dance in the rain. I literally pulled her out one time, it was raining. You can ask her, it was freezing. And I pulled her out and we literally just went dancing in the rain. Like, we just do some most random, spontaneous things together, and I couldn't be with somebody who's not like that. Now, that's just for me. There are men out there right now, they're like, that's all I want. What you
Right.
just described is my utopias woman.
Right.
Please introduce me.
Right.
You should just go Netflix and chill.
Right. We just gonna chill at
We're just
home all
gonna
day?
chill. Let's go. So at that point, it's all different. But guess what? At the base of it all, what sometimes you just want to be seen, and I think that's the key thing about finding love in the first place is you say you see the good in them, right? I like that. I like that theory. My theory is this. My theory is that people stay in relationships hoping to one day be seen.
Mm.
So like beyond what you see outside, to someone that when they look at you, they see you. And I don't think I need to go into detail when I say that. They actually see you. They
Right.
get you.
Right.
Where like it's
They match
almost
your fingerprint.
yeah. Where it's like, I know you can't do wrong because I get it.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think a lot of that also is that self-preservation mode. Hold on. Let me read some chat here real quick, okay, before we get too far into
I
it.
know,
So
right? And then I have a quote I want to read.
we got one. I won't say it out loud here because this is going to be going on a podcast, but we know who it is in chat if you're in chat right now. Someone said I have several friends who've been and only because this is a little bit more personable now, this part
Right.
of the podcast. So
Sure.
if we're talking about persons and stuff, I won't be so I'll mention names, but in this case, because it's more personal, I'm not going to on purpose. So one of our viewers says I have several friends who've been married for over 20 years and their situation's more like roommates than a marriage. And then we had another person say, I've been there. Two of my exes were so toxic. So let me go on that first comment real quick. The first comment is, I've had several friends who've been married for 20 years and their situation is more like roommates. How do you think that happens? Because that's still along the lines of holding on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because
I think it falls into that, like, this is what you're comfortable with, and it's easier to just stay and more comfortable to just stay. No, people don't like change. A lot of people don't like change. A lot of people like being comfortable, and it's easy to be comfortable.
right.
And to think of switching up everything when you're so, like, when this is what you've known for so long,
Right.
that it's so much easier to just stay in that situation, in that scenario, than it is to think about starting over. Because after 20 years, you're starting over. Like, that's a long time.
You know, my thing is this is like the woman I dated in front of me, literally the person talking in front of me right now is not the same person that I met when I first met her. So Mags, not only did she weigh almost 80 pounds more, and this is gonna sound completely superficial, and I don't mean it that way. Take it however you want. But she's maybe the second woman that I was ever with that was overweight, I guess you can say, you know? Not that I give a crap about that. I never cared. I was just honestly, I was really brainwashed of what I saw on TV, what a woman's supposed to look like. I'm like, oh, my true love must look like this girl walking in slow-mo on TV.
Right.
So when I finally started looking your way, I started realizing, oh wow, you have a personality. I'm into this, you know. But you changed completely from when I first met you, and
Oh.
I'm not even. There's the base is still there.
Yeah.
The reason why we love each other is still there. But man, have I changed, and man, have you changed.
Oh my God.
So I would like to predict that maybe these people have changed so far from each other
Mm-hmm.
that the passion between those two,
The base is gone.
the base is gone.
Mm-hmm.
That
The
passion.
coal, we call it.
The coal, yeah. You know, I take a quote from Bruce Lee, who's one of my heroes growing up. You know, Bruce Lee. She my woman. No, which is like the way he described his love between him and Linda was like a lot of people described him as fire and flame. That's like young love, but the way he describes his love is like coal, burns deep, burns longer, and every once in a while it gets so hot the flames will spark back up. And I always really enjoyed that quote because I always compare it to us as well, where it's like that is how I like to keep my love at a nice coal where it's constantly hot. But a lot of people, in my opinion, chase that flame and they think
The
that's
flame.
coal. They think that's coal. They
The
say
spark,
the spark. And do you remember
Mhm.
being young, 16 years old, 15 years old?
the butterfly.
But the butterflies, they mistaken that for love. They mistaken that for love. And you know, my scientific background's like that's because they have asymmetrical face and their eyes are in the perfect spot. And she flipped her hair perfect, and you're prone to looking at those things. She also exposed her neck at the right time while changing her tone to you, which is why you felt that way in the first place, hence the butterflies. You know? So like I go into complete science, I was like, that's not really cold. That's called you being freaking 12 again and falling in love with some person you saw on TV. That's not real love. That's the flames. Now you still need that though. I'm not saying you don't need that. You need some flame to start some Tinder, right? You need a little bit of fire to get things started. So that's required too. I'm not saying you shouldn't have a preference. But when all that comes down, there better be some base that y'all got together. Something's got to be there. And I think people that have been together for that long, they never had that base in the first place between each other. And more importantly, the other person ain't seen. So the reason why we've been together for what? Well, I lost count.
A long time.
So let's talk about our relationship. Let's put us under the fire for a second. No pun intended. From that should have been a good segue. Let's put us under the fire for a second. Mags and I don't know when we got together. We don't know. You know, a lot of relationships you get in trouble for not knowing your anniversary. We got no clue. We got no clue.
I'm like, So it's that's kind of a funny story. My mom was actually talking to me. This was recently. I think it was earlier this year, and she was like, like I've been with my partner. We've been together for God, what did she say? Like 17 years or something like that. And I went, holy shit, really? Because like, wow, I remember who she was with before, and like all throughout my life, and I was like, wow, it's been that long. And then I went, me and Sai got together before they got together. Wow, that means we've been together for at least 17 years, and we had been together for a few years before they got together. So I was like, wow. But I jokingly, confidently say we've been together for at least 11 years because we have a 10-year-old daughter.
Oh my God.
And that is my solid evidence that it's been at least 11 years that we've been together. But before that, I can't give you an actual timeline. Like I really don't. I don't keep track of it. It's not important to me. The length of time isn't important because it doesn't matter. Just like what our viewer was saying is like they've been together for 20 years, but how great were those 20 years if you're just roommates now? You can be doing something for 50 years, but because you're doing it wrong, because it's work, that doesn't mean you're doing it right. So 20 years doesn't matter if you're not happy, unless you're going for the length of time goal. But it the length of time doesn't matter to me. It's the quality of time that matters to me. Like I can tell you how many adventures we've been on. I can tell you how many states we've been to. I can tell you how many road trips, how many times we've been back and forth across America.
But you can't tell us
But I
how we
can't
together.
tell you what our first date was,
Nope, I don't remember.
when it was,
I remember the first time I fell in love with you, but I can't tell you what our first date technically was.
right? Or when it really started, because it just happened.
Right.
We just happened, and there wasn't an official let's go steady. There wasn't like a proposal. There wasn't anything. It just naturally transitioned into us, and it has had this coal that you've described from the beginning that ignites, and it sparks, and it flames, and then it coals, and then it sparks, and it like
It doesn't have to be a Hollywood romance movie every
Mhm.
day. Y'all don't gotta be doing those crazy love scenes where you chucking off, like, remember you're like clearing the table.
clearing the deck.
Those all you don't gotta just don't it does happen, but it's not supposed to be like that all the time.
Mhm.
That's not how that works.
Mhm.
Uh, you gotta have that sustainable base. And what's really funny is that you say that about like what how long we've been together or et cetera, et cetera.
Mhm.
I do want to read this comment from one of our viewers. Also with the divorce, right? You have to split the house with the kids so that when kids are involved,
It's
really things get really, 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 really messy.
Mhm.
And then also in regards to a relationship, they said it's all about respect. What do you
Mhm.
think about that?
I agree. Absolutely, mutual respect for each other because it
You respect me?
some days. And but it has to be like that you respect them as an individual because I think so many people are like, you complete me. I'm 50 and you're 50 and we make 100 and you complete me. And I'm like, ew, no, like
No,
absolutely not. I'm 100, you're 100, now we're 200. Let's fucking go. Like you shouldn't need somebody to complete you. So you quoted, I want to quote, and it's super recent, and of course it's going to be a Taylor Swift, but
of course.
I think it was
Right.
fire. You should think of your energy as if it's expensive, as if it's a luxury item and not everyone can afford it. I love
with
that.
that.
I absolutely love that quote because I'm like,
That I'm with that.
if somebody can't afford your energy and because you are a luxury item, my friend, if they can't afford it, they don't deserve it.
Right.
And so that falls on. I loved that quote because it falls in our company. It falls in a personal level. It falls on this topic that we're talking about right now, as far as like.
So would you give that advice to somebody right now? So let's say somebody's in a marriage right now and they're more roommates as described, right?
Mhm.
You would tell them, hey, you got to see your energy as a luxury item. Like they don't just get it.
Yeah.
And I agree. I agree. But you couldn't go as far, even as a marriage counselor, or even as the best best friends. You couldn't go as far as to be like, hey, you should break up with them because that ain't yours. That's not
No.
up to you.
No, I'm about empowering that person.
But we are kind of like nudging him in that direction with the quote like that.
Well, I think sometimes people get so comfortable, they get so blind to because of the comfort and because of the routine and because that's what they're used to, that it's like sometimes they need somebody to come and shake it up and to be like, look at yourself in the mirror, not look at who you're with, not look at the shit situation you're in, but like look in the mirror and find your value again, because you've lost your value if this is what you're accepting for life. We only get one spin on this rock, y'all. We only get one spin, and it should not be wasted in mediocrity, and it should not be wasted in comfort because it's comfortable.
Well, now let me. I agree with you, but to keep things spicy, I'm gonna disagree with you.
Okay.
You guys. I do this thing with Max before I go on. Okay, before I go on, I do this thing with Max. Me and Max, I have a joke with her. We don't argue often, which kind of freaks out some people that have like lived with us and been with us. Like they're like kind of weirded out that we don't argue. So I made this joke a long time ago. I was like, let's just like argue about something random just to be normal for a second, you know? So I'll say something like, what did I say last time? I said, just like, babe, like I'm trying to start an argument. I was like, I'm gonna argue with you. I'm like, what's your favorite animal? And you said the one with the eyes. And I said, fuck the animals with eyes. Fuck them. I hate them. Those are the animals I specifically hate.
And then I went,
So like I'll try and start stuff with her just to kind of feel normal for a second. And that's not saying that we don't disagree. There's a big difference here. Me and Max disagree often on the daily, you guys. We disagree often. We don't agree with everything, and that's what's great about it.
scientist, hippie.
Keep that in mind.
Science,
Mm-hmm.
woohoo.
You are totally woohoo. She believes in rocks and crystal.
am.
And I went to school for neuroscience and quantum physics out of all things, okay?
Hold this rock.
Yeah, and she's like, hold this rock, okay? So now don't get me wrong, I still did performing arts, you know what I mean? So there's some emotion to me. I did stand-up comedy, I did acting, I did drama, all that stuff too. So and a lot of it is not like, oh my God, you did so much with your life, Sai. No, here, I had ADD, you guys. That's how that works, okay? You lose focus on one thing, you move on to the next thing in your life. So but yeah, we're very, very polar opposites. So we argue we have discrepancies on the daily. We just don't argue like standard. Because I feel sometimes so much when I've watched couples argue, so much of it is about putting the other person down, and sometimes it's about ego of just wanting to be right. And the reason why that ego's gotten to that point is because they've never been allowed to be right, or they're always right.
Right.
So either way, so they're used to it. They're like, oh no, I'm gonna win this argument like I always do.
I always do. Or I never win an argument, so I'm gonna scratch and paw.
I'm gonna scratch and paw at this, right? And the one thing that me and Mags have gotten really well at doing, and I don't know if this is gonna help anybody out there right now, is that we always are never aligned our guns at each other, but instead we align it at the problem that's causing the thing to make us be at each other potentially. So that's always been the thing that really has kept us, in my opinion, that's been the secret sauce, if you will.
I agree. I absolutely agree, because I don't ever, first of all, you're much smarter than me in so many ways. So
I can argue against that, but yeah, go ahead.
shall we argue about that?
Shall we? No, we can argue about that.
Live on the dream. Let's argue it. But no, I know my I know where I stand on, especially in like the educational value. Like I know how to fix things, but you know why it works the way it does. From like, I think we're so like you had said, we're polar opposites in a way, but we balance each other in that way as well, where it's like
This is why she hasn't gotten rid of me, you guys, like a bag.
Oh, gee. Right?
We're
Someday,
still on topic. You see what I did there?
someday I'll use that bag. But no, like I keep you humble, and when you get too far off into the science world and you get too far off into the numbers, I humble you and make you hold a rock.
That's true.
And when I get too far off into the woohoo and all I care about is my animals and my plants and nothing, and that you bring me back down to reality with like logistics and science and things like that. So I think that makes us such a like powerhouse when it comes to that kind of thing. And I completely agree with you in that we hone our energy into like what the problem is as opposed to each other, because fighting with each other that's not going to get anywhere again, because it's just somebody wanting to put the other person down.
Right.
To either make themselves feel better, or because, like you said, that's where they stand.
I'm about
That's
to
where they live.
challenge what we just said because I love doing this. Okay. Well, that's
More
basic.
arguing.
More
Fucking
arguing.
Go.
I'm gonna challenge. Are you ready?
Mhm.
So, what about if somebody cheats? Let's talk about infidelity for a second. Now we're going to talk about what? We're going to talk about what's the problem? The problem's you.
Right.
You cheated,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is it? Is it?
I don't know. I'm so conflicted on this because, I've been cheated on, and I've had several friends that have been cheated on.
It was Henry Cavill. She gave me the green light,
That's not cheating.
It's not cheating if it's Henry Cavill. I need
No.
everyone to know this.
It's not. And but so I don't really know where. I don't really
Sentence.
duh. I don't really know. I feel like that unfortunately ends up being like a case by case basis. Cheating is wrong. I don't agree with it. I think if you're not happy where you're at, just fucking leave. Like, don't cheat. I think cheating is wrong. But I think on a case by case basis, it needs to be assessed differently, because it can be, absolutely can be the cheater's fault. It is. They cheated.
Mhm.
So it is.
Mhm.
But what led up to that?
So I have, yes. And so you're saying that's the problem.
So I think
That's the problem.
that is but
So-
then there are the case by case where you just have unfaithful partners.
Let's narrow that down. Let's not talk about the ones that are chronic cheaters.
Yeah.
Where they can't help it.
Yeah.
Well, not that they can't help it, first of all.
Right.
But we're talking about the ones where, let's take these guys out of it. Let's take the one out where they only know that in their life is to cheat.
Right.
The second they get a chance to, fulfill some sort of insecurity that they have or whatever, or they just want somebody new for a second.
Right.
Let's take those people out of there.
Right.
Where they can't stop cheating. Let's say they've had 5 relationships. Oh, excuse me. 5 real relationships, not one night stands.
Mm-hmm.
They cheated on all of them.
Right.
I think we can kind of say these people are chronic. at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 different partners.
That person's the problem.
Let's take that person out
Yeah.
for a second. Let's throw in a scenario like this, okay? So, because we're still in the staying too long. Let's throw in a scenario like this. Maybe someone was very abusive on one side.
For sure.
So the person who's being abused found relief in the arms of another person.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying this is wrong or right. Okay, I mostly think it's wrong, but we're just gonna go along here with me, okay? And even after being cheated on, they still stay with them. Now, on one hand, you go, well, did they force them into cheating because they wanted some sort of break, some sort of relief from this person? Is that a thing where you're like, you know what, I gotta go? Now, bearing in mind, this is my problem too with what I'm saying here, just to again throw myself under the bus here. I've never cheated on anybody. I've always just left. Now, the reason why that's the case for me, and this is not the case for everybody, is that I can walk down the street right now, and Max has seen me do this. I literally do this all the time, and meet somebody new.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So I'm not worried about finding another partner if I got to go find another partner. So the concept of staying with somebody has never been a problem. So cheating has never been on my radar. I'm not going to be like, I'm going to cheat on you to leave. I just be like, okay, bye, Felicia. I'm going to go to this party now and to go meet somebody else. Okay. So it's going to be that easy for me. So my problem is, though, is that that's not everybody. That's not everybody at all. Some people will stay even though that person's cheated on them, even though that person's hurt them. Because to me, cheating is one of the biggest forms of hurting somebody, the betrayal involved in it. That's why it's never been on my radar. Like, I couldn't imagine doing that to anybody. Okay. But that doesn't I don't necessarily judge those people, because you don't know what they've been through. You don't know how they are until you walked in their shoes. Why did they get into that situation in the first place? Because I here's how I can defend it. The other partner beat them. How about literally beat them and literally physically and yelled at them, right? Like abused them mentally, abused them physically, and then then the other person was like, I want a way out. So cheating was their exit. Cheating was like, this is how I can do it. Maybe they'll leave me because I don't have the balls to just leave them anyways. Maybe they'll just break up with me because I cheated.
Right.
What about that scenario?
Yeah. That's why I say it's a case by case. It's case by case, because not every incident of infidelity is necessarily malicious. That's a really hard one for me to give insight on, because I have been the cheated on, not the cheater, the cheated on, and it's devastating, and it's it breaks you.
Yeah.
It breaks a part of you.
The
Absolutely.
part of you just dies along
Yeah.
with it.
And
I don't know if I've been cheated on. I've never been told or never caught them. I don't think I have been. So, but I've also usually been the one to end the relationships. So this is the longest relationship I've been in, and previously before that, it's been like the relationships I had were like a year long. That's the longest relationship I've been in previous to you for the most part, year-ish,
Yeah.
something like that.
that was me, other than my marriage, and that was 3 or 4 years, but only married for like a year. We were together for several years before we actually
Okay,
got married.
so here's a hot and heavy question. Okay,
'Kay.
if I am a coach or maybe a Dooney bitch,
Mhm.
and I buy myself an MK, is that cheating? Talking about Terry.
Terry would say yes, absolutely.
She said yeah.
Unless it has a big clock on it.
Are there? Unless it's a big clock, she did buy that bag, right? I'm like, is that cheating?
No, I don't think so, because that's more about. I mean, you're gonna have your super like brand devoted people that absolutely will not buy anything outside of that brand.
Right.
But
We got to wrap up soon, but let's do another comment here real quick, okay? Um, I was in an emotionally abusive relationship and started to develop feelings for a coworker, but I used that as encouragement that I could move on, and then broke up finally with my ex after 6 years. So it sounds like this person did it in a more healthy manner, where it's like it looks like I can have feelings for somebody else. I'm gonna take that momentum and be like, okay, bye.
hell yeah,
Especially if the other person's abusive.
yeah.
So, and I think that's key too, is to like know that when you're being abused, if you will. Sometimes people don't know that they're being
I
abused.
know, that's
So,
so scary.
and as a friend on the outside, you can't go in and meddle like that, because what happens is when you go in, and I think all of us have done this, okay? You've tried to help a friend. What happens is eventually the gun gets turned towards you because you're in it now. So, and you get older and wiser, and you're like, hey, listen, I don't want to
And-
get into this.
Well,
Like,
and then when the times are good, now you're the one in there going
when the time,
talking shit.
right.
Now you're the enemy because the times are good.
Right. So when if a relationship goes up and down like this, right, and you're over here in the low spots of the relationship, whispering in her ear like, "Yo, he's a dickhead. He's a total of a dick. Why are you with him?" Right now, you're like, she's like, "You right. You right, girl."
Then he comes
Yeah.
home with flowers.
Then he comes home with flowers, and guess what she does? She go right on back, and now she's on the up. And now you're the toxic part of their relationship. They both turn towards you and go, oh, hell no, you tried to get me to break up with the man that I love. And then it goes right back on down. So after a while, you kind of learn to just step back and go, hey, listen, I'll wait for you.
Right.
When you come back around,
I'll see you on the other side.
I will be here for you. Okay. Because that's the smartest thing to do as we got older. By the way, I mean, we're in our 40s now. Okay. It took us a while to learn this, because you want to hop in and you want to help.
Absolutely.
You just want to go in and be like, oh my God, can I please help you? He's crazy and he's abusive. He's literally calling you terrible things in public. Like, hello. But she's so in love, sometimes she don't know. She don't know that she's in that abusive relationship. So, you know what I'm saying?
Yep. So it's more about style than cheating as far as the bags go. I agree. I don't think that.
Some brand loyalty.
Yeah, I think there's brand loyalty, but I don't think that there's nothing emotionally like devastating.
I mean, that's why I cheated on Mags, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
This other girl had great style. So it's not cheating.
Right? Was she vintage?
Was she vintage? She was. I like him a little older, you know what I
If
mean?
she's vintage, then it's okay.
Did it?
But so no, I think that I agree with Eileen that it's more about style.
Yeah.
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 So, but I love I have several bags that I refuse to let go of. I'll probably never use them. Probably won't. But they're like some of my tried and trues, and I love them, and I would be sad if they went away. So there's my loyalty. I do have.
Do you
some-
dare give advice to somebody who's been in a relationship too long, that's been holding on to that man a little too long? How about this? How would you break someone out of their bubble? Like, imagine somebody's out there listening right now, and they kind of feel that a little bit in the back. No names, because this is so like everybody.
broad.
This is so broad. This is so right now. And when you're, what are some clues you think that you know that you're in that type of relationship? How about that? Where you're like, I think one of the things that our viewers said is important, that they felt that if it starts to feel like roommates, that's one of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. If you feel like you're in a roommate type of situation,
Right.
then you need to reevaluate, unless that's what you want.
Right.
There could be some people that are like, that works for me.
Yeah, you see, so that throws that right out the window.
Yeah. So
Because there are some relationships
I
where
just
that
want to
works.
be. I just want to be with a person that makes me feel comfortable. It doesn't need to be sexual. It doesn't need to be anything more than we share the same house and we feel safe with each other. Like there are people out there that are like that.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because we're not. But I mean, we're not meant to be alone. But that doesn't mean that we have to be with a partner, if we will. Like maybe they just want to be housemates.
So when's the time to let go? When something doesn't feel fulfilled?
Definitely. When you start seeking and needing and longing for that, like for that type of a connection with somebody else, that's when it's time to realize that the situation you're in isn't beneficial anymore.
I got to tell my Brahmin she's not big enough. I think it's about that time I have that talk with her. Yeah.
It's that time.
It's that time. I'm like, I'm sorry, Brahmin. Here's the thing. It's just not fulfilling. You know what I'm saying?
You ended a 2-year relationship because it started to feel more like roommates.
Like a roommates.
Nice.
Right. Yeah.
Good.
Good.
And
Good.
that
Because
because if that's not fulfilling you and that's not what you want, it's time to move on.
for real though, for
Really is.
real.
So I think as far as you saying when do you step in, I don't think you can, but I think all you can do is try and build them up as an individual and try and
Like, don't even include the other person.
No,
Yeah,
no, no, no,
like,
no.
don't.
Yeah,
I think
no.
the worst thing to do is to go in and trash their partner.
Absolutely. Yeah, you
That's
cannot.
the worst thing to do.
Yeah, you cannot do that. You have to just go and build them up as an individual and make them see the value in themselves. Again, like Groaning Taylor, like you
Right.
just have to find that, like, value your energy.
Right.
So, what the VR? I don't know.
No, not yet.
'Kay.
Not yet. So, you know what I was thinking too is that the during that process of trying to like, she got someone on her nose?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Just to, because we got to finalize it.
Yep.
We're gonna have a 7-hour podcast.
I
We don't
know.
need that right now.
I know.
We can save some of this for later. By the way, tomorrow's podcast. No, we don't have a podcast tomorrow. We're off tomorrow.
Nope.
The next podcast, you guys got to come back for this. I'm gonna bring up a really hot topic with her. I'm gonna give you the preview right now, just so we can hold on to it.
La la la.
No. I want you to hear this.
Okay. Ooh. It's gonna
Joint
simmer.
bank accounts
Oh my.
or separate bank accounts in a relationship. Mags and I have. Remember, I said we don't always agree. Me and this woman. This is one of those things that we don't necessarily agree, but we do agree, but we don't agree. Okay, so we're gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna move on. But you see her reaction? It's gonna be a hot one. I can't wait for that one. So it's gonna be a really hot one. But anyways, so I want to move on from this and I want to end it. And I want to say this for anyone that's out there, like really, that ultimately it's for your own personal growth. When you go through your own personal growth as you grow, you have two choices, and it's very, very black and white.
Mhm.
Grow with them or apart. That's it.
Yep.
That's it.
Mhm.
So you're either growing together or you're growing apart over time. It really is that simple.
Yeah.
Because there's no way you can actually believe you're going to be the same 5 years ago as you were a year ago,
Mm-hmm.
as you were. Hell, you could change in 30 days.
Absolutely.
You can pick up a new mantra in your life and realize, you know what? I don't really like that. So if that person isn't changing with you, that's where that's where my advice would go. If you would ask me the same thing,
Mhm.
I'd be like, that's where my advice goes. Like, it all depends on where you guys are growing and how you grow. If you're growing together or you're growing apart. Bottom line, that's how you know.
Right.
So if you're in a situation with the two roommates thing,
Yeah.
and you guys are still growing together and you guys are happy with it, shit.
Right.
More power to you. Let's go. Let me know when your anniversary is, because I don't know when mine is.
Right.
Right. So, but if it's getting to the point where you're like roommates, but you guys are growing apart, like you want to do one thing, and that person's over here being the same person, or vice versa. You know what I mean? Like it's
Mhm.
just not the same, because personal growth is different for everybody. So sometimes you get someone who's like, I'm growing better than them. That's not a thing. Like, for example, you ever hear like a woman is like, well, all he wants to do is play video games all day, right? That doesn't mean that he's not growing. He's just growing in a different direction than you. There's a lot of personal growth still going on in a person that sits around, believe it or not, in games for 8 hours. It's just not the same as where you're growing. Maybe you want to go do something else and grow in a different direction. Maybe you realize, I do want to go dancing every freaking Saturday, right? But he doesn't. Well, you guys are going in a different direction, aren't you? Because he doesn't want to grow in that direction. It doesn't mean he's not growing. So sometimes you hear somebody go like, oh man, they're stale. No human being actually truly is actually just stale. If you look very closely to any human being, even the ones that sit around in their basement all day long, they're really not completely stale. Like you think you just might be faster than them in a different direction relative to where they are. And that's important to understand too, because human beings, even just on a cellular level, we're not the same at all. We're not the same from 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So don't think that you're gonna be the same 5 years from now, a year from now. And that's my advice to somebody, is that if you're out there and you realize that this relationship you've been in too long, have I been in this relationship too long? Sit around and go, where are they going? Where am I going? Where do I want to be? Where do I want to be a year from now?
Right.
Who do I want next to me? Do I want somebody that's just kicking it? Do I want somebody who's ambitious? Do I want somebody who's going to be on this path with me, or whatever it might be, right? So, and you can throw in anything. I'll throw in something that I think really challenges a lot of people every day. Like, for example, weight loss. Maybe one partner wants to get fit, and another partner's, I love my body. I'm all right with this. I've learned to. And you go, oh man, you staying still, fat guy or girl, right?
Right.
You're shaming them almost. You're like, you staying still. I'm getting in shape. No. They're not staying still. They've grown in a way where they're like, I've learned to accept my body. I've hated my body so much. I've learned to accept all my curves. That's a different growth.
Right. And that could be just for that time.
They could change.
Yeah.
They could change.
Mhm.
And that's what I'm saying is that are you in that growth moment together? Is it something that you can see together, in the future? Because obviously if they're growing with you, they're going to be like, well, you going to the gym? Shit, I'm in. Let's go. I've been wanting to get rid of some pounds. You know what I'm saying? Or it could be a couple where they're perfectly fine with their weight. And they're like, wait, hold on. You accept it how you are? Okay, me too. As long as you're not like morbidly obese. Really though, you should get that you cut your life by a lot by doing. I'm just talking about just like general, maybe it's a little bit of chubs on you. You know what I'm saying? So that's a little bit different. But my point is that the two people got to be on the same page regardless. Maybe they're like, for now, we're going to spend the next 2025 being a little chubby. Is that cool? All right, cool. Maybe next year we'll get up. But they're together, right? Whether they procrastinate or they actually do, don't matter. They're on the same energy.
Yep.
They're on the same path together at that time. I think that's very important. So
I agree with that. Definitely grow together or grow apart. That's super. That kind of describes it.
black and white, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the way. I think it summing it up like as much as humanly possible without going into like.
Yep.
And
I think it is, if you are the friend of a person going through this, is to just build their self-worth. So to help them realize their self-worth. And that leads into the like, are you growing with your partner or are you growing apart? Because you now have your self-worth. You're establishing your self-worth.
Right.
So do they have the same value?
So much of getting old is chipping away to unessentials.
Oh God.
It's
And
not
there's so much.
It's not adding stuff on. It's not like it's really chipping away like a statue. You're building yourself up. Like, I don't need this anymore in my life. I don't want
Right.
this. I don't need this. I don't need this. I don't need that. So much of it is that, like, just growing older. And nobody told me that when I was a kid. And I wouldn't have listened because I was a kid.
Right.
But it's like, it's so much of that. It's just like, I don't like this anymore. I don't like this. I don't like that. And really that's what it is. It's like, I'm going to change this in my life. It's not necessarily adding like you think. It seems like you're adding. You're just taking away all the stuff until you get to your true self underneath that whole lump that we call ourselves. And what's really important too, in my opinion, is that people understand to see each other. Like, for example, when I met Mags, one more thing, I promise, I'm going to end the podcast. When I met Mags, I didn't see her for who she was at that time, if that makes any sense, because she weighed 80 pounds more, and Mags didn't want any kids, you guys. She didn't want any kids. She didn't want to talk about deal breaker first to meet somebody. And I wanted a bunch of kids. I wanted a gymnastics team doing cartwheels out of her. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I wanted a lot of kids. And she was like, no kids, hell no. And that was almost a deal. And generally it should be. Honestly, a logical person should be like, all right, this is not a good base. We just talking about bases. I'm going to leave. But I also saw something in Mags that was a little bit different where I'm like, yeah, but everything else is right. She got like everything else seems right. And the biggest thing too is I never saw you in that moment as that's who you are. You're the anti-kid person. I never labeled you. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
I never just was like, oh, you're the anti-kid person. I never stopped to label you. But I did see you as this is your moment in time. And if it changes, then okay, then it's meant to be. If it doesn't change, then it wasn't meant to be. I think that's important too, to note that you're always seeing people as they are currently.
Right. And
then you get to decide if there are going to be someone there for you. And that adds on to the holding on for too long, because then they never change sometimes. And suddenly it's been 20 years. You know what I mean? You're like, man, it's been 20 years. Why haven't you done, you haven't done the dishes? It's been 20 years. I thought you're going to be a dishwasher guy. What happened? Take out the trash, That's still my joke for you. That's how I talk dirty. It's like, hey, how do you guys keep the sex Sex Life Alive. I'm like, hey, babe, I took out the trash without you asking. Tanners fly right off. Tanners fly will fly across the room instantly. So, all right, Liz, let me get your bullet points up. We're gonna end this podcast. And remember, we're gonna get into a pretty heated discussion next week when we come back on Wednesday of joint bank accounts or separate bank accounts. Okay, so Mags has got a very strong opinion about it, and I have a more neutral opinion, but I mostly agree with you. So let me get your bullet points. Ready? All right, go. You get to do it. You get to do it.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for listening. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Eileen. But thank you guys so much for listening. And we are flipping the script on corporate resale and challenging the rules that puts profit over people.
Boo.
Boo. Treating shoppers the way they actually deserve to be treated with joy, freedom, and zero buyer's remorse, y'all. Watch us live. We record these live here on Poshmark 4 days a week. Follow us on Instagram, Kismet Mags, and our album is dropping on the 20th. Gets closer every day, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited. And let's build your bag collection, you guys. Head over to kismetmags.com. Check out our Good Vibes Guarantee and our Purse Pass, and let's go.
Let's go. And for anybody who needs to hear this out there right now, comfort feels safe. It feels familiar. It feels easy to stay in the same place around the same people doing the same things. But here is the truth. Comfort can very quietly, very sneakily become your cage. Because growth doesn't come dressed in comfort. Growth comes disguised as challenges, as endings, as uncomfortable changes that push you to shed the old versions of yourself. It will cost you people who doubt you, the routines that you kept small, and the version of you that once played it safe. That's going to be what you're going to trade it for. And yes, it hurts. It's going to hurt a lot, you guys. But on the other side of that discomfort is freedom. And that kind of freedom that feels like breathing for the first time. So don't be afraid to outgrow the things that were never meant to ever hold your greatness. Until next time, you guys. Much love. We love you guys. Mwah. 1 week. Mags is hugging you. Bye.
See you next